Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Ask Dr. Zaino show. I believe this is episode number 23. So we are still rolling consistently every week, and I want to say thank you to all of you who are just big fans and consistently on here, asking questions, interacting. We really do appreciate it. As I always do, I want to orientate you to what you're looking at. If you're watching live, now you may be watching the replay on YouTube, on our YouTube channel as well. But if you're watching live from chirothoughtleaders.com/ask-dr-Zaino, then you're seeing this live. And below this live video, you can actually see the like button. We have over 5,000 Facebook likes. You'll see the G+. We only have 15, so if you have a Google+, go ahead and hit that button right there. Tweet it out to your colleagues, share it on LinkedIn, pin it. Our LinkedIn and our pin it's, they're kind of sad. We only have 5 and 1 there, so you guys hit them. Anyway, we'll get down to more important business here in just a second. Below that, we actually have a live chat. I see a lot of you have already found it, and you've put your questions into the live chat. I'm going to get to those in just a second, and we want to thank you for being on live and for actually participating and putting your question there. Below the live chat tonight, if you scroll all the way down, you'll actually see a button that says Alive by Design, and that's what I'm going to be sharing with you and talking with you here in just a second. Some of you already know that this is Dr. Chris Zaino's Church Talk series that he's done. It's a DVD. If you click on that button, it will take you, for those of you who are watching by replay, or if you're just listening in, it'll take you to chriszaino.com. You can actually just go to chriszaino.com and see and be able to get access to the Alive by Design DVD. Now, I'll tell you, I play this DVD in my office just about every day. My second office in Tomball that we opened a few months back, it literally is the only DVD I have in there. It's the one I play over and over and over, and it gets the principle of chiropractic, the principle of health inside our patients' minds. That's what it's all about. And I've learned a lot. You know, we talk about on this show how you're supposed to listen to chiropractic audio, how you need to put the principle inside of you, how you need to grow and strengthen, just continually feed that stuff. Walk around with these all the time, this headset on and listening to audios. This is what I did. And, a lot of people will chase Sigafus or BJ Palmer audios, and of course those are awesome as well. But I actually studied Dr. Zaino's Live by Design DVD, and I would watch the DVD and I would actually take notes and get that into my head. In fact, it was kind of funny because I play it in my office as well, and I had some patients who told me, Dr. Tabor, I think this guy's stealing your stuff, because I was using his stuff so much that they would hear that DVD and it would sound like me. So I highly recommend that. I'm going to share more with you in just a second about the Alive by Design DVD, but you can check that out just by going to chriszaino.com or clicking on that button down there. So guys, I do want to say that today is going to be more like the Ask Dr. Tabor show. Chris is actually in the air right now. He's in a plane coming back from New Jersey. But I want to tell you this, that I take pride, and I don't mean to boast, but I am proud of the fact that I would say I know Dr. Zaino's his strategies, his systems better than almost any other doctor, maybe other than his actual associates that train under him every day. And that's because I'm just like you. I've been learning this over the last couple of years. I've been implementing this in my practices. I have 2 practices in the Houston area. And we work and we train on this stuff every single day. So I know ins and out, and maybe even valuable for you to be asking me questions, because I'm just like you, trying to take these procedures, these processes, and plug them into my office to help them grow to even bigger and bigger levels. So again, I appreciate you for being here, and I'm going to get to these questions. We have some awesome questions today. In fact, the first one, you'd think I planted it, because we talked about the Alive by Design Church Talks, the DVD that you can get access to, but I actually had nothing to do with this question. He says, I have a church talk this weekend with about 50 people, which is awesome. Nice work, Doc. I'll be using my dinner talk. Do you recommend having them fill out the stress test? I think he means stress survey. Or is there a better way to get people signed up to come into my office? So for those of you who have the dynamic dinner, if you go to dynamicdinner.com, you can actually see what we're talking about. You'll go through the free series. But for those of you who purchase the dynamic dinner, you do these types of dinners, there's a stress survey for people. And that on the back, there's also a place where they can schedule. They can circle their appointment times. excuse me, they fill out their information, they can tear that off and give it to your staff. So yes, there's two ways to go about this. And number one, ideally, you're able to have someone pass those out, the stress surveys, you're able to have them take them, and you're able to walk them through that stress survey, showing them where to put their name. You know, I mean, you walk them literally all the way through it like they were babies and they couldn't do it themselves. At every line, you tell them where to put their email, where to put their address, and then you tell them where to circle the appointment, pick the appointment time that fits best for you, circle it, tear the top half off and give it to my staff, and then, you know, and we'll make sure that we're ready for you on that appointment. And that would be ideal. But sometimes if you can't do that, or you feel a little bit more uncomfortable doing that, you can simply have a desk set up in the back of the auditorium or in maybe the foyer area of the church. And as you do your close, you'll instruct people to go to that desk to actually schedule their appointment. And you can do it that way. It works. But yeah, so either way there. I would do it if you can, have them circle the appointment time, just like it says on the dynamic dinner program, because that's easiest. They're able to do it right there, and you don't get any what we call lodi, the lodi monster, the law of diminishing intent. So while they're sitting there listening to you, they're like, yeah, I'm going to stop by that table in the back. But then after they're done, there may be so many people, they don't want to stand in line, and then they just end up walking right by and not scheduling. So if you can get them to fill out that paper, that would be ideal. All right, so we have a next question. Hey guys, love what you're doing here. It's much appreciated. I actually have a few questions, okay? We'll try to answer them in order here. I was working with a company to set up my lunch and learns. I just did a lunch and learn and recently, and the HR person wrote a letter to the company slamming me, saying that I was soliciting people at the end to make appointments for money. Really? How should this be handled at a lunch and learn? Free appointments, or do you charge? Question mark. The answer there is I charge. Now you're going to have, you know what? It doesn't matter what form of business you're in. If you're in any type of sales, which if you own a business, you are in sales. It doesn't matter if you're a chiropractor. It doesn't matter if you're a mattress salesman or a car salesman or whatever it is, you're in sales. One person I've been listening to a lot lately and following is Grant Cardone. He's the one that wrote the 10X rule. He's absolutely amazing. But if you watch this guy for any amount of time, you know that he has critics, he has haters, but he makes hundreds of millions of dollars because he doesn't let those people who might have a little bit of a negative shade, which this person obviously doesn't even have that negative. He said you're just soliciting people at the end of your talk to make appointments. Yeah, you're trying to help them as much as possible to get them checkups in your office, which is perfectly fine. But now, that being said, I think you charge ahead, you keep doing what you're doing, you keep sharing this message with people, and you keep trying to get them into your office, because you can't help them if you can't get them in your office. And most of the time, you charge for that, even that first initial appointment, even though it's extremely discounted because you're doing that presentation for them. People just don't show up if they don't if they don't have any skin in the game. And I know this because I've done hundreds, if not thousands, of spinal screenings. And the spinal screenings that I have them pay, more people will show up. The ones that I say, like, let's say, for instance, this is a great analogy if you're doing a spinal screening or if you're doing this lunch and learn at a business. So if I'm doing a spinal screening at let's say a little mom and pop shop, like a vitamin store, and they don't want me to collect money there, then I'm going to actually ask them if I can actually collect the money but donate it back to a cause. And this may be something that you could do during your lunch and learns. So if you go to the business and say, look, does your business have a cause? Do you have a charity that you support? Is there is there something that I can, or just tell them, we support this charity in our community. And then when you do your lunch and learn and you're doing your close, you can say, yeah, this is normally a $400 exam in our office. If you sign up today, it's only $117, and all proceeds are donated to children's, coat fund, coat drive, charity, whatever it is you have going on in your community. And then I promise you, that HR guy, and you don't have to do this every time, donate it to a charity, but if that would have been the case, that HR guy would have looked like the jerk, right? Because you're the one that's helping people, which you already are, just getting them in your office. So I think you keep doing what you're doing. If you get to some of those companies where you feel like it might be better to donate that, or even if you just want to do that, that's fine. And then lastly, is yes, you could say that you could pay at your office, or you could actually do a free exam. If they say absolutely no money and no soliciting, you could do a free exam, and you're just going to have to expect lower show-up rates, and I don't recommend that. All right. Question number two from him, same person. In an earlier show, you had mentioned that you have your wife do the financials. If you do not have someone to do that for you, how would that interaction go if it were just the doctor handling the financials? Can you walk me through that process? And then parentheses, just finished the masterpiece report, and then I would be in the room with the patient and spouse. So great question. And in fact, I'm a great person to answer that, because I know Dr. Zaino does have his wife or have somebody else in the office actually come in to do the financials after the doctor reviews the x-rays and goes over the x-rays. In my office, I like to present my financials myself after we view this person's x-rays. I show them the problems. I show them, why they're having their issues. I actually show them the correction and the care that I would recommend. And then I go over the financials with them. Now, I don't collect the money, but I say, look, my recommendations are, and I'll just go through my process. My recommendations are 36 visits. That would include, every visit's going to include the chiropractic adjustment, and then post-adjustment will be some structural rehab that we'll have to do, and everybody's is customized. So I would show them their mirror image, their traction, or their vibration platform exercise. And then I would go through and I would say, if you paid full price and you paid per visit, and we would go through that, it would be over $4,000, $5,000, whatever it is. That's why we do a discount for our care plans, where you get this, and this free. You're only paying this much for the rehab and this much for your adjustment. And the great thing is, if you want to pay for that all up front, you get an extra 10% off that. So a lot of people will take advantage of this. It comes out to be only, I think mine was like 23 something. And you can take care of that today. Or if you rather, we can do a down payment today, and you can work this out monthly. We don't charge interest on that. We're just trying to help you get started and also save you a lot of money. So which one works best for you? And then I just wait and have them say this, or this. And then if I don't have time, like let's say, because this happens, I had a full report the other night. I did that. I went over the financials. I said, I need to think about it a little bit. I said, great, let me take you up to the front. You can ask Kayla, my office manager, any questions. And then once you decide on the plan that you want, so let her know. She'll get you scheduled, and then I can get you adjusted tonight. Right? And so that's how it works out. I go on to the next person, and I go over the next set of x-rays. Hope that helps. And if you're the only doc in there, or you just don't have a big team or big staff, just do that. I find that it works. I actually like that better, because I'm able to show them and tell them exactly what it is. Question number 3 from the same person. Great questions, by the way. So I'm working with Dr. Fred and Elite Coaching, who is awesome. Highly recommend him. It seems as though their process is slightly different when it comes to goal setting. They do have some different, so Dr. Zaino coached under Dr. Fred, and I coached under Dr. Fred for a long time too, and I still consider him a huge mentor, and we'll call him and we'll get information from him, and highly recommend him. But then I started to actually incorporate Dr. Zaino's, all of his processes, so not just some of them. And so as Dr. Zaino, like he said, they're always evolving, they're always changing. So my office is, your office should be too. And there were just some things that he noticed worked better for him, maybe for higher volume or for the speed that he wanted to be at. And so that's why he implemented those types of strategies. This question goes on. It says, can you share with me exactly when you have your patients fill out their 20, 30, 40-year health goals and life goals? What day is that in the office? Day 1? I assume it must be prior to day 2, Masterpiece Day, because I believe you refer back to their goals when you're in the room doing their financials. You're exactly right, Doc. It's on day 1 while they're filling out their exam form in the front of the office. When they first get there, they'll have the goal sheet is part of the exam form, and they would just have that filled out. And then during their day 1, when the doc is doing the exam, they would kind of go over and take a look at the goal sheet. And sometimes you have to help the person, right? Because they might put one goal on there that says, I need to get out of pain. That's the only goal that you have. That's not the only goal. They're just, yes, they're so focused on that right now but you want to help them. What is it you really want? Why do you want to get out of pain? You know, those types of things. But that's done, yeah, on the first day. And I'm not real sure, I forget when it's done in Dr. Fred's process, but Dr. Fred has an amazing process too. Like if you stick to that, you know, do that, because he has great results. But to answer your question specifically, according to the Masterpiece process and the way I do it and the way Dr. Zaino does it, yes, it's given at day one when you give the exam forms. Okay, so another question here, kind of a little bit of shift gears. Where do you post ads for front desk staff? What about for associate docs? Oh man, that's a great question, and that's a tough one. It really is. I mean, hiring, especially after we open our second office, hiring is not easy. You know, it's not fun. I don't enjoy it, and it's hard to find great people. That's what you want on your team, is you want great people, because you have to have great people to have a great team. Yes, we want to nurture our people and grow our people and turn them into even greater people. But you know, it's hard right now. And I'll tell you what, if you contact some of these guys who are supposedly the people to contact that can actually hook you up with associates and stuff, I have not had a lot of luck finding them through those venues. I've posted classified ads to all the chiropractic schools. We've posted some ads, like even to my Facebook. I have a lot of friends on Facebook that I know are chiropractors. I've sent that out, that we were actually looking for people, and that's been, honestly, so as far as hiring an associate, that's been the best way that we've found out, and it makes sense. I mean, if you have a lot of friends who are chiropractors, you ask them, you ask your friends. They know somebody who knows somebody who knows somebody who's a great chiropractor, or who's a great kid getting out of school, or whatever it is. Right now, though, I don't have an amazing answer for you on how to find a top-notch associate. I know Dr. Jason Deitch, who we had on the show last week, he's working on some websites and programs. I know Dr. Stephen, Franson, Dr. Stephen Franson. He also, and with Dr. Alan Miner, they're working on some things to try to get some great docs and get it out to people. And as soon as we find out more about those venues, those ways to actually get new docs in your office, we'll definitely give you guys the information. And as far as associates, I have found the best way is to hire from within my office. I know that a lot of people are a little bit like on the fence about hiring a patient, because you're afraid you're going to lose them, or you might lose their patient or whatever. You might lose their family if they leave. But honestly, my office manager right now, she's amazing. And guess what she was? She prepaid almost $3,000 for care for her and her husband. I mean, and then, of course, she got it. She understood it. She knew how valuable. She knows how valuable it is. So when she actually is taking money from people for the care plan, she has nothing inside of her that says that's not congruent, right? She has nothing inside of her that says, I wouldn't spend this much money on a care plan. She has inside of her this feeling like, yeah, why don't you pay full price? You save a lot of money that way, and it's well worth it. I did it, right? So I find that if you hire those patients who are amazing patients, they work for you. And I don't know, maybe some people have had some falling out with that. I hope not, and I hope that never happens to, you know, my front desk manager. But for me personally, that would be my answer to that question. Awesome. And we get, you know what, I love comments too. I know you guys are posting questions in here, but we have some awesome comments. Hector says, hi, thank you for all you do. Excited for the show. Love reading those types of things. Thanks for doing the show solo. You're welcome, Dr. Toki. Thank you so much for being here. Which Dr. Toki, I think it's Dr. Toki. I apologize if I mispronounced the name again. But he sent me an email. We might have to go over this show. Like it was a crazy email that we were talking about Grant Cardone. We're talking about having some tough skin. You know what? If you're out there doing things, if you're out there trying to change the world, you're gonna have some people who kind of come up against you. You're gonna have a little bit of negativity. In fact, you know what we should do is Tossi. Sorry, it's Dr. Tossi. And by the way, Dr. Tossi is awesome. He is kicking some tail. He's implementing dinners, and he's just really killing it out there. So thanks for the pronunciation there. And so anyways, yeah, if you're out there sharing the message, you're gonna have some people who try to keep you from doing it. You know what that means? If it was nothing, if let's say that as chiropractors, our message was you should drink water, right? Like We were out there just hustling, trying to get the message to the world. You should drink water. You should drink water. Yeah, nobody's going to fight you on that, bud. Big deal. Like, yeah, I know I should drink water, but if it's something that people don't know, like the power that heals the body, the power that made the body heals the body, that the nervous system is a master system, that there's subluxation that could crush life from different areas of your body, then man, yeah, you're going to get a couple of haters from people who think they know everything, right? And I know I'm preaching to the choir. You guys are awesome, man. Just keep killing it out there. Keep taking the message to the people. All right, so Hector says, I was listening to episode 2 of your show as I do some paperwork before patients, and I heard you and Dr. Zaino speak about your care plans. What do you do for care plans right now for corrective care? I liked one of your comments from the show where you said that you charged $120 per month for maintenance/wellness care. Wondering if that's accurate. That's pretty close to accurate, what I charge for wellness care. So I do corrective care first in my office, especially if people have deviations from normal, subluxation, issues, pressure on the nerve. Then they're going to go through a corrective care plan in my office first. The corrective care plan is a 36-visit care plan. And by the way, I just recently got certified through the Chiropractic Biophysics Foundation. I don't practice perfect chiropractic biophysics. I don't think anybody does except for maybe Deed Harrison. Anyway, I try, and we get good corrections in our office. And so the corrective care plan in my office is a 36-visit care plan. And that's backed up by research from Chiropractic Biophysics that it takes about 36 visits to get approximately 50% correction in spinal curvatures and spinal translations and alignments and those types of things. So that's the reason why we do 36-visit care plans. Then we do a re-x-ray at 36 visits. Now that's usually 3 times a week for 3 months. Now occasionally on that last month, I'll drop to 2 times a week if they want to extend it out a little bit further, and I think we're making good progress. But usually it's 3 times a week for 3 months, and then we'll do a re-x-ray. That corrective care plan for 36 visits, I want to say is about $2,400 in my office. I don't know the exact number. And so that's what they would start with. Now I tell them straight up front in the Masterpiece report that I recommend wellness care after that for everyone, but that we have, we give them a great deal, we give them a great price, and we want to take care of them. We want to take care of their family after they do a corrective care plan in our office. So at the end of the 3 months, and they come back for their report or for their doctor's, their re-exam, sorry. We go over their x-rays, and then I present them with the wellness plan. Now the wellness plan, like you said, is mine's $140 a month. Maybe it was $120 back then, but I think it's been $140 for a while. And so we present that. It's $140 a month. Basically what that means is it's 1 adjustment a week, and that would be about $35 an adjustment. So my normal adjustment price is $55. So they're actually getting a $20 discount off that. So it's only $35 an adjustment. They can come once a week, but they just put a credit card on file that will charge them $140 a month. Now, why would they do that? Not only because they get $20 off per adjustment, but also this wellness plan in my office. And by the way, I'm not a legal, lawyer or anything. I don't know what kind of plans you can do in your area, but that $140 a month acts as also like a health insurance plan, meaning that if the doctor says, I need you to come in more, I'm not going to charge you extra for that. That's what I tell them. So I don't tell them it's unlimited care. I say it's a once a week wellness program. But if I need you to come in more, I'm going to let you do that. I'm going to tell you to do that, and I'm not going to charge extra. So if you have a flare-up, if we have an issue that's not correcting and we need to actually get more corrective care, which is 2 to 3 times a week on that, then I'm going to tell them to come in more. But they just would be on a wellness plan of at least once a week for $140 a month. Now, the second person in the family, I'll discount that. I think it's like 20% off of that. And then kiddos, I usually do for, if they want to do weekly adjustments for kiddos, it's only $47 a month. I know that's low pricing, and I totally respect people who want to charge way more than that, but realize that's after a corrective care plan in my office, after someone's already paid almost $2,500. And now they're just saying, look, I want to pay for monthly wellness care. And this makes my office hugely valuable. Don't underestimate with the power of this lifetime wellness program of having people pay $140 a month for once a week visits. Because imagine if somebody, okay, let's say an average chiropractor sees 150 visits a week or whatever, and they're only scheduled out like 2 or 3 weeks. because they just let everybody pay per visit and pay when they want to come in. And so their schedule, their book, it lasts 2 weeks, right? So if you want to sell your practice and you're trying to get a couple $100,000 for your practice, if our transaction takes longer than 2 weeks for me to get in there, everybody's gone. You don't even have a practice, right? But imagine if somebody's getting $10, $20, $30, $40, $50,000 a month on auto debit, and you're getting people they're coming in every week for their adjustment, no matter what, whether you're there or not. They're going to be ticked off if you're not there, and they're pulling on the door trying to get their adjustment. How much more valuable is that office if that's just what you're talking about? Not even helping people. We're not even talking about actual families who can come in once a week and get pressure off their nerves and be able to live a life that other families don't get to live. But just talking about the value of your office, I highly recommend you implement a lifetime wellness plan after your corrective care plans. Or if somebody's really bad and they have to do 2 corrective care plans before they can move into lifetime wellness, whatever it is for you. But I just think that makes my practice a lot more valuable than it used to be, having that done. So hopefully that answers your question, Hector. I appreciate you being on here. You're awesome too, man. Dr. Tassi says, do you adjust in between financials after going over care plans? So do a financial, adjust, and then go do another financial? No, actually, Dr. Tassi, the way we do it, and the way Dr. Zaino does it as well, is they'll do each financial, and then they'll take them up to the front to wait until we get done with all the financials. And if they want, for the people who start care, they get adjusted. The people who don't start care, if they say, no, I'm not doing it, or I need to go home and think about it, they won't get adjusted that night. But let's say I had 4 people in the report, and I went from person to person, and I showed them their x-rays, I showed them the care plan, they all wanted to start care. I would go to the first one, they say, yes, I want to start care. I'm gonna say, great, I'm gonna take you up to the front to my office manager. She's gonna get you all signed up. She'll take payment, she'll get you scheduled for the next few weeks, and then she'll have you wait in the waiting room and or the hot seat area, and then as soon as I get done with these other people, we'll get you adjusted tonight. How's that? Awesome, great. So I would go through every report and do all the financials before I actually go up and or go back to the adjusting tables and adjust all the people who started care that night. And that's just the way we do it. You know, and I'm sure other offices might find it that you might do something different. I'm not saying that way is the only way, but that is the way Dr. Zaino does it, and I try to mimic and do what he does as well. I do put my own spin on things, and I take pride on that too. I think everybody should. And Dr. Zaino even says that you should, if you're congruent with one way or you're not congruent with another, you find the ways that you are, and that would apply on anything. All right, so another question. My question has to do with mastering volume. Not to get into numbers, but every time I get up near 500 a week, my wrists, arms, and back always seem to affect me so much that we drop back down. What is the secret to handling higher volume? Great question, Dr. Scott. And, you know, we get close to those levels. If I was doing all the adjusting at both of my offices, then we'd be up there, and I would be experiencing that too, I'm sure. But I did practice in Dr. Shane Hand's office 2 years. So I've been a chiropractor for almost 10 years, be actually 9 years in August. For the first 2 years, I did an associateship in an office where we saw about 1,500 visits a week. And occasionally, Dr. Shane would leave. He'd be out of town, right? So I would be adjusting like crazy. And I remember at the end of that week, adjusting 1,000 people, I remember laying on the table, like going, oh my God, like what just happened? Holy cow, my arms hurt, my legs hurt, right? So this profession you're giving is what you're giving your body to help other people. That's why we should take care of our bodies even better than we would recommend our patients take care. And, you know, I'm just as guilty as anybody else, but I recently actually I hired a fitness coach and a diet coach, he's Timothy Fueling. He's a professional bodybuilder, and he's been helping me, and I've been getting in great shape and doing that. I always feel better when I'm in better shape. But nevertheless, yeah, everybody's a little bit different. I know Dr. Zaino, for instance, he's been adjusting thousands of people every week for years, and his body hurts. I mean, I don't even know if he wants me telling you this, but I know him personally, and his body would hurt after that. He's beat himself up. And so that's why he hired his associates. He's got 2-3 associates in his office at a time, helping and adjust, maybe even doing, you know, and I think Dr. Zaino still, he's that kind of guy. He's like, I want to do this myself, you know, and I respect that. But he tries to do even more than he probably should. And at some point or sometime, we have to not only think about handling and taking care of our bodies by making sure we eat right and exercise, but also by maybe delegating some of the work that is gonna cause us that type of pain in the long run. So it might be a time to delegate. And I'm just throwing out my 2 cents. You know, it's something that you're obviously a top-notch chiropractor, seeing 500 a week. I mean, you do the right things to even get there. But that might be something that you think about, is delegating and shifting to these associates, just like Dr. Zaino did. And everybody's different. Some people's bodies, some of us were hurt before we even became chiropractors, right? I mean, I played basketball, others are football players. And so we definitely have to, and I appreciate you being open and sharing that question. I know that I'm not, may not have the perfect answer for you there. But I'll even email your question straight to Dr. Zaino so we can send you back his personal reply to that. I hope everything works out awesome for you. And two options for my 2 cents would be 2 options: hire associates to help you and delegate a little bit more, which, trust me, is hard. I got 2 associates right now that every time I delegate my patients to them, I get people that come back and they're like, I just want you. I just want your adjustment. So everybody deals with that as well in chiropractic. It's hard to mimic your adjustments between 2 chiropractors. And this brings up another point, I think, and we're getting all over the place here, but when I was in Dr. Shane's office seeing 1,500 a week, we practiced adjusting like each other. We trained on doing not the exact same adjustment every time, but giving very similar adjustments, very similar techniques, very similar, treatments. If we find an alignment here, we both adjust it the same way, because we want everybody to be able to come to each one of us, So I think that's important if you do have associates, that you're able to share. Oh, so you are an associate. Oh, wow, Doc. Awesome. Well, you're getting your hands on way more people than most associates do, and which is going to be valuable for you. I think that the years that I spent with Dr. Shane, trust me, in 2 years, I got my hands on thousands and thousands of people. When I went and started my own practice, which I just saw your comment down there below, you'll be opening up in Texas soon. Could I recommend an expert to go over the do's and don'ts in practice? So this is a great place to be, to ask questions and go over the do's and don'ts. And looks like you're already here doing it. But those years were absolutely amazing, because look, in 2 years, I saw thousands and thousands and thousands of adjustments on my hands. And then I would go to a seminar, and we would meet up with our friends, from chiropractic school that had started their own practice, and they're still seeing 30 a week or something like that, or 50 a week. They're not getting their hands on people. So when you go and you start your own practice, Doc, man, you're going to be so efficient with that adjustment and so confident, and that will, trust me, that will help you in building your practice. And man, just keep that up. That's awesome. And then, another thing I didn't think of, most of you out there listening right now are probably thinking of this answer to that question, is using more drops, using more less force techniques. I know Dr. Zaino himself stopped doing side posture, no more side posture. And then I think he stopped doing anteriors as well. No more anteriors. There's other techniques. There's ways to adjust everything with activator, with Thompson, with other techniques. And those techniques they're just as vital and just as, effective if you do them right and you master them as the stronger, more manual adjustments. So that's certainly a way to go, is try to learn those other techniques and save your body that way. All right, Livingston, Ryan, my buddy, he says, I want to say thanks for always talking about visualizing yourself and vision every day. My vision is being that anchor and light in times of darkness and instability. During finals in school, I kept having a patient of a friend who has cancer wanting to meet with me. She already had everything she needed to take action. At first, I was a bit annoyed. Then I realized I'm literally manifesting my vision. Due to my conviction and personal story, I have people all the time, my patients, family, and other friends. And I know Ryan lives that. He works hard for that. And we're all trying to strive. And I think Dr. Gentempo talks about this, man. It's these marketing strategies. Yes, we have to take action. We have to be able to implement them, and we have to be able to do them. But the stronger we grow as a person from the inside, the better we become as a person. just not only the better we make the world, but also, people that reflects in our practice begins to grow. We begin to draw people. I truly believe that. I know that's esoteric, but the more firm you get on your philosophy, the better you get in your technique, the more you start to actually care about people, that it works. It grows your practice. And there's a law of the universe, and the reason why that is. Hector, this information is gold. Wow. Huge that you are sharing this, Doc. Thanks. Great explanation. Thank you, Hector. I appreciate that. And next one, I am just getting started with CTL material. Any tips on how to make progress the most effectively? Would you recommend doing the masterpiece report and dynamic dinner material together? I did my practice assessment last week, and I was steered to start with the masterpiece report, and I purchased that immediately. So if you already have the masterpiece report, master it. I know it's masterpiece, master report, but master the masterpiece report, because you're going to learn the philosophy. You're going to learn what to say to a patient when you need to say it. And you know what that happens is you're going to learn what to say, not only to a patient, but you're going to learn what to say in your, when your interactions with people. When you go to a screening, you're going to feel like, oh, I already know what to say because I memorized this whole presentation. I did that, by the way. We're talking about, I was talking about Alive by Design. If you go to chriszaino.com, you can check out Dr. Zaino's Alive by Design DVD. That's what I did with this DVD, was I literally went through Dr. Zaino's presentations and I took notes on every single thing. And I would share this. I still share this stuff in some of my presentations. There's a story that Dr. Zaino shares in there about how the innate intelligence, it always knows what's going on, that it always is doing what's right for you. And with people, when we get a fever, we try to take something to drop the fever, and we're fighting against this innate intelligence. And he tells a story about the spinach outbreak. And many of you may remember that there was a major spinach E. coli outbreak in the spinach, and you couldn't get spinach anywhere. I personally remember this. This was like over a decade ago now. But I loved Subway, and I always liked putting spinach on my Subway sandwiches, and you could not get spinach anywhere. No one could buy it ever. So that was how it affected me. But unfortunately, even more unfortunate, for 19 people, they died because of this E. coli outbreak in the spinach. Okay, here's the crazy thing about that. E. coli is a self-limiting bacteria. It's called Montezuma's revenge, right? If you drink out of the stream, you get this food poisoning, you get E. coli, and what happens? You get diarrhea. That's how your body gets rid of this E. coli. That's how it gets it out of your system. Well, you know what people did? After they would eat the spinach, they would get E. coli in there. They would take Imodium AD to stop it up. And then the E. coli couldn't come out. So then the body started vomiting. They started to try to get the poison out this way. And they would take anti-nausea medication. And 19 people died. And it completely changed the way we treat those types of things. I actually had a friend who had food poisoning, had to go to the emergency room. They didn't give him anti-nausea medication. They didn't give him anti-diarrhea medication. They just gave him a IV to keep his fluids there. But it completely changed the way we treat those things. And I share that story in my dinner talk. I'm not sure if Dr. Zaino actually does, but I use a couple of different stories that Dr. Zaino does in my dinner talk. But I got that from the Alive by Design DVD. So check that out, and make sure, just like for you, if you purchase the Masterpiece Report, master his presentation. Go through and learn it so much so that it starts to just flow from you, and it starts to just come out like it is you, right? And it's going to make you better in every single part of your practice. I promise you. It's going to make you better at table talk. It's going to make you better at doing spinal screens. It's going to make you better at doing your dinner. It's going to make you better at, every interaction you have with people. All right. So awesome. Keep up the great work there. All right, next one. Ryan again. Want to talk to me? It's like they know inside they can heal, but once they hear my heart to heart, they are confident in their decision. I allow them to do what they already know they need to do. Unconsciously liberate others to do the same. Take responsibility. Yeah, so mindset and growth there. Okay, cool. So guys, I went way over our 30 minutes, and everybody stayed on here, so you must be getting some good stuff. And I do really appreciate you guys being on. I want to go over this Alive by Design just a little bit more before we end the show. So let me share my screen, and I'm actually going to pull up the Alive by Design. So if you scroll down below this, Hector, one more question. Doc, can you talk about when you decide to hire your office manager for your office? Did you hire an office manager first? I hired an everything manager first, right? So I did it. I did it by myself. I answered my phone calls. And actually what I did was I rented a room from another chiropractor who wanted to just rent out a room to lower his overhead. And I paid him $1,000 a month to let me just use one of his rooms. And that's how I actually grew my practice. But I did everything on my own until I was actually, you know, exploding my office, and I was filling up his waiting room and my room that I had. And he was like, you know, you got to find another place. So, but yeah, when I did first hire, that's an everything hire. Office manager means you do help me with rehab, you help me call people, you answer the phones, you help me set up dinners. And, you know, that should be in the job description when you hire your first person, is they just need to do everything. And you need to keep your overhead low and only hire that one person when you're ready to hire that one person, and just have her or him, and him, gentlemen do a great job. Chris Burfield was an office manager in a chiropractic office, and just sometimes guys, girls, whatever it is, have that person help you do everything. So awesome. So let's scroll down a little bit lower. If you click on a Live by Design, it's going to take you to chriszaino.com. You'll be able to see this promo video, which is awesome. It talks about the it talks about, I'm going to go ahead and maximize my screen here. Okay. It talks about the, well, exactly what Dr. Zaino talks about in the Live by Design presentation. So your number one cause of death is medicine. Talks about all the numbers there. Number 2 cause of death, cancer. Number 3 cause of death, heart disease. There's 3 sections. So this is a long DVD. It plays for, I don't know if it's 2 hours. It has to be close to 2 hours in my office. But he goes through section 1. Section 1 is absolutely amazing for driving home the principle to your patients. Oh, by the way, guys, this DVD is $97, but you'll notice I put a little link under here that says click here to buy 10 and get a huge discount. Now, I actually didn't get permission to do this from Dr. Zaino, but I'm the one that actually builds the websites and does the fulfillment and everything. And I want to do something cool for you. So in my office, for the people who are watching the Live by Design DVD, they always ask me, hey, where can I get one of these? Where can I get this DVD at, right? So I wanted to put this kind of a wholesale type of a thing for you guys. If you buy 10 or more, so it's $97 per DVD. I mean, this DVD is a waiting room DVD. It's awesome. It's worth every bit of $97. But if you buy 10, it's only $397. And the reason why I made it that low for you is because you're buying it wholesale. You could actually resell these and then make money. Instead of having it even cost you $97, you could actually make money by reselling these in your office. And no one can get this DVD unless they come here and they pay $97. So it's not like someone could buy it from you for cheaper than that. So if you wanted to buy 10 at a time and get a huge discount, it's only $397. You just click on that link right there. Anyway, what it goes over, and I put a little bit of a small snippet of it in here so you can actually see that's the video. Of course, it's going to be in much higher definition than YouTube will allow it to be in once you get the actual DVD. But that's Dr. Zaino going over this first section that he does, where it's called Created to Live. And trust me, it is awesome. It's about the nervous system, the power of the body, and it's probably my favorite section. But even the next section, which is Eat to Live, and he goes over God-made food versus man-made food. He goes over like nature's food and why it's so important to get that healthy diet. Session 3 is Move to Live. That's where you go over exercise. He actually has people up there. This is why people want to buy this DVD, by the way, in my office, is because during this section, he shows you how to exercise. He has people up there doing burst fit type exercises, and it shows your patients how to move and exercise. And so if you want to buy the DVD and get it for your waiting room, it's only $97 for right now. And again, I did make it possible for you to get it at wholesale price for 10 of them for only $397. And I don't know if I'll be able to keep that there or not, but I promise you, if you purchase tonight, I'll get you that. All right, guys. So I appreciate you being here for so long, and I'm going to go ahead and stop my screen share here. I think we may have had one more question. Tips for others. I put this on my iPod and listened to it in my car. Very cool. Yeah, we appreciate that. It's all about putting this great positive stuff, messages, principle into your ear as much as you can get it there, because that's the straight highway to the brain. That's where we want it. Anyway, guys, I hope you have a wonderful 4th of July. Everybody be safe, be careful out there. Go to chriszaino.com to get your Live by Design DVD. And thanks for allowing me to be here and to answer your questions. And of course, you can always email us, chriszaino@cairothoughtleaders.com if you wanted any other specific questions. And all right, y'all have a wonderful night and have a great 4th. We'll talk to you soon.